The ball bounced off the futsal wall and shot into the sky. Laughter echoed through the small, enclosed court, where boys in clean jerseys chased it like hungry lions. From the other side of the metal fence, a pair of eyes watched every move, focused, unblinking, and full of silent dreams. 12-year-old Malik stood barefoot on the rough gravel, his toes grey with dust, his body leaning slightly against the chain-link fence that separated him from the game. His shirt had holes, his shorts were faded, and his stomach often growled louder than the city traffic behind him. But none of that mattered now. What mattered was the ball, the game, the teamwork, and the way the boys moved like magic. He came here every evening after helping his mother sell boiled corn near the market, while others passed by without noticing. Malik stayed, always behind the fence, always watching, never asking. He never dared to ask. The futsal center wasn't for kids like him. It was for those who could pay. But that didn't stop him from dreaming. Every kick, every pass, every goal etched itself into Malik's memory. He memorized dribbles, imagined the weight of the ball on his foot, felt the rhythm of the game in his heart. He practiced moves in the dirt road behind his tiny shack of a home, using a plastic bottle or a crumpled soda can. His mother, tired but loving, always smiled when she saw him. She never stopped him, even when the rice was burning. "Dreams don't cost money, Malik," she once said while fanning smoke from the stove. "But remember, you'll need courage to chase them." One evening, something changed. A new coach had joined the futsal academy, a former semi-pro named Coach Ray, with a sharp eye and a quiet heart. He noticed Malik, first once, then again, then every day. "Who's that kid?" he asked one of the players. "Him, he's always there, doesn't talk, just watches," the boy replied, wiping sweat from his forehead. Coach Ray squinted toward the fence. Malik stood there, his hands gripping the metal like it was his only chance at life. That night, Coach Ray walked over. Malik froze. "You like football?" he asked. Malik hesitated. I love it." "You ever played?" Malik's throat tightened. "Not like this, just behind the house, with bottles." Coach Ray smiled. "Bottles make good footballs when you have the right heart." Malik couldn't believe someone was talking to him about the game inside the fence. "Come tomorrow, same time," Coach Ray said, "where anything doesn't matter. I want to see what you've got." Malik nodded. He didn't trust his voice. That night, he ran home faster than ever. His mother saw the glow in his eyes before he even spoke. "Tomorrow," he whispered breathlessly, "I'm going inside the fence." His mother's eyes welled up, but she didn't let the tears fall. Instead, she opened a small wooden box and pulled out something his late father's worn-out shoes. "They're too big," she said. "Stuff some newspaper inside. You'll grow into them." Malik held them like they were gold. Tomorrow, the world would see what the boy behind the fence could do. The sun was a little hotter than usual the next day, but Malik didn't feel it. His heart was pounding too hard, louder than the traffic, louder than the kids playing, louder than the fear whispering in his mind. He stood outside the futsal gate, not behind the fence, not peeking through it, but right in front of the entrance. His late father's old shoes were far too big. He had stuffed them with paper from an old math notebook, but they still flopped when he walked. His shirt was clean, washed by his mother and dried on the rooftop with prayer. His hair was combed with his fingers. He had no uniform, No shin guards, no water bottle, but he had fire in his chest. Coach Ray noticed him immediately. "You showed up," he said with a small nod. "That's step one." Malik didn't smile, just gave a quick nod in return. He was too nervous. The other boys glanced at him with raised eyebrows and whispers. One even laughed under his breath. "Coach, who's this?" asked Rico, the team's best striker. "He's here to try out," Coach Ray said simply. Rico looked him up and down. "Try out with those shoes." Coach Ray silenced him with a look, then turned to Malik. "Let's see what you've got." The ball was rolled toward Malik. It was heavier than the plastic bottle he was used to, but his body adjusted like it had been waiting for this moment forever. He started dribbling, clumsy at first, unsure. The ball slipped ahead of him. He chased it, caught it, then tried again. This time, smoother. The third time, even better. Then something happened. The fire inside him took over. Malik moved like water, fast, light, natural. He spun past one player, then another. His footwork was rough, but his instincts were sharp. He made up moves without knowing they were real techniques. He played like someone who had studied football, not in a classroom, but with his soul. The boys stopped whispering. Rico stepped forward. "Pass it to me," he said. Malik passed. Rico shot. Goal. Coach Ray clapped slowly. Not bad. The practice ended with Malik out of breath, sweat dripping, shoes nearly falling off. But his eyes sparkled. For the first time, he had been part of the game. Not a watcher, a player. "Come again tomorrow," Coach Ray said. "Same time." Malik looked at him, unsure. "Really? You've got raw talent. But talent needs work. Discipline. Sacrifice. You ready for that?" Malik nodded. "Yes, Coach." Coach Ray smiled. "Then don't be late." That night, Malik walked home in silence. His legs ached. His shoes were worn. But in his heart, a new world had begun. His mother was waiting outside their small home. When she saw him, she didn't say a word, just opened her arms and hugged him tight. Malik didn't cry, but he held her a little longer than usual. Inside that tiny room, with cracked walls and one flickering bulb, Malik dreamed. He didn't dream of money or fame. He dreamed of belonging, of running on real grass, of hearing the crowd cheer, of wearing his country's jersey. He didn't know how far he'd go. He didn't know the storms waiting ahead. But he knew this. He was no longer the boy behind the fence. Weeks passed, and Malik showed up every single day. Rain or heat, hungry or tired, nothing stopped him. His feet bled sometimes, the old shoes giving him blisters. But he taped them with scraps and kept going. He listened to Coach Ray like every word was gold. He learned. He failed. He improved. Even the other boys noticed. "He's crazy, man," Rico said one day, shaking his head. "He doesn't stop." Coach Ray smiled. That's what makes a real player. Malik was now part of the team, not officially, but in heart. He was faster, sharper. He still wore the same torn shirt and still brought no lunch. But no one laughed anymore, not even Rico. One day, Coach Ray made an announcement. "There's a citywide youth tournament coming up in 2 weeks," he said. "Big scouts will be watching. It's a chance of a lifetime." The boys buzzed with excitement. "But there's one problem," Coach Ray added, looking at Malik. "Only registered players with proper kits can join. I've asked the board to include Malik, But rules are rules. He needs a full kit and registration fees. Malik froze. How much? He asked softly. Coach Ray hesitated. 3,000. Malik's heart sank. 3,000 rupees. That was more than his mother earned in 2 weeks. His dream was standing in front of him, and a wall had risen once again. That night, Malik didn't say much. He just sat with his mother, staring at the floor. She watched him silently. Then she stood up, went to the corner, and pulled out a small metal box from under the bed. "This is our emergency money," she said, "for food, rent, medicine." Malik shook his head. "No, Amma, I can't take that." She didn't reply, just placed the box in his lap and said, "Your dream is our emergency now." Malik cried, not out of sadness, but because love sometimes hurts more than hunger. The next day, Malik handed the fee to Coach Ray. He registered, got a second-hand kit, and finally felt like he belonged. But life had one more test waiting. 2 days before the tournament, Malik was returning home when 2 older boys stopped him. Street kids, rough, angry, desperate. They noticed his new football kit. "You think you're a big man now," one said, pushing him. "Rich boy now, huh?" said the other. They tried to take the jersey. Malik resisted. He was beaten, thrown to the ground, and his kit was torn. But he never let go of the shoes. When he reached home, his face was bruised, his shirt blood-stained, and his eyes hollow. His mother panicked. "Malik, what happened?" He sat down slowly and whispered, "I'm still going. I don't care how I look. I'll go." Coach Ray came to visit that night. When he saw Malik's face, he didn't ask questions. He just placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "You've already proven you're strong. Now it's time to show them why." The day of the tournament arrived with skies, full of light, and Malik's heart, full of thunder. He stood near the sideline, eyes fixed on the green turf of the city's largest youth futsal arena. It was nothing like the dusty street where he once kicked soda cans. This was real, painted lines, shining lights, loudspeakers calling out names. Malik's shirt was stitched back together by his mother the night before. His bruises were fading, but his eyes were burning brighter than ever. Coach Ray walked over and placed a hand on his shoulder. "This is it, son. Don't play with fear. Play with heart." Malik nodded, swallowing the knot in his throat. "I'm ready, coach." Their team's name was called. The crowd clapped. Not for them, no one knew their names yet. But Malik felt something he had never felt before. He was not invisible anymore. The whistle blew. The game began. At first, Malik stayed cautious. He passed the ball, held his position. The opposing team was fast, clearly trained. Rich academy boys with top-class gear. They scored the first goal within 5 minutes. Coach Ray shouted from the sideline, "Wake up, boys. This is your game too." Then something shifted. The ball rolled toward Malik. He stopped it, looked up, and ran. He sprinted down the right wing, dodged one player, then another. He didn't think. His body moved like it had memorized every inch of the court. He faked left, slipped right, and shot. Goal. The net rippled. The crowd gasped. Coach Ray grinned. From that moment on, Malik owned the game. He didn't just play. He danced with the ball, passed with precision, stole possession like a magician. He wasn't the strongest, not the tallest, but he was everywhere. His teammates fed off his energy. Rico, once the boy who mocked him, now high-fived him with pride. By the second half, they were leading 3-2. Then, with only 2 minutes left, the opposing team attacked hard. A striker broke through, one-on-one with their goalie. The shot came fast, but Malik, out of nowhere, slid in front and blocked it with his body. He hit the ground hard. Pain shot through his arm. The whistle blew. Foul. Free kick for the opponent. Final minute. Malik winced, stood up, and took his position. The free kick came in sharp and low. Malik jumped, blocked it again. The whistle blew this time for the final score. They had won. His team lifted him in the air. The crowd erupted. Some people chanted his name. Others just pointed and said, "That kid, number 7, he's something else." A scout walked up to Coach Ray. "Who is that boy?" Coach Ray smiled. "That's Malik, and he's just getting started." Later, while others celebrated, Malik sat quietly on a bench, holding his shoes in his hands. They were torn now. The soles were barely attached, but they had carried him through the storm. He looked up and saw his mother in the crowd, eyes full of tears, hands over her mouth. She nodded slowly, and he knew this was more than a game. It was his beginning. 1 week after the tournament, Malik sat outside his house, spinning a flat football on his finger. His shoes, now held together with tape and hope, lay beside him, as worn as the road he'd walked to get here. But something had changed. He was no longer just a poor boy behind a fence. People in the neighborhood whispered his name with pride. Kids who used to ignore him now begged him to teach them how to dribble. Mothers told their sons to be like Malik. Even the shopkeepers who once shooed him away now handed him a cold drink with a smile. But the biggest change came when Coach Ray visited his home with a man in a suit and a file in his hand. "Malik," Coach said, "this is Mr. Adil. He's from the National Youth Academy." Malik stood up, confused. Mr. Adil knelt down, smiling. "We've been watching your game footage. You've got something special, son. We want to offer you a full scholarship, training, education, everything. No cost, just your commitment." Malik blinked. "Me?" His mother stepped forward, holding her breath. Mr. Adil nodded. "Yes, you. But it's in another city. You'll live there, study, train. Are you ready?" Malik looked at his mother. Her eyes were full, not with fear, but pride. She gave a small nod, the kind that said, "Go chase the sky." Tears slipped down his cheeks. He'd never been on a train, never left the city, never even owned a suitcase. But he had faith, and that was stronger than anything money could buy. That night, he packed his few things: the stitched-up shirt, the worn shoes, the letter from the academy. His mother gave him a small prayer necklace, the one his father used to wear. "Don't forget where you came from," she whispered, "and don't forget why you started." Malik hugged her tightly. "I won't, Amma, I promise." 2 years later, a large crowd sat in a stadium, watching a youth national final match being brought. On TV, a young boy in a clean jersey with number 7 on the back sprinted across the field, sharp and focused. His footwork was smooth, his passes quick, his goals unforgettable. Commentators spoke his name with awe. "That's Malik, the breakout star from the Youth Academy. He's being eyed by international clubs already." But Malik's mind wasn't on the cameras or the crowd. It was on a memory, a boy standing outside a fence, dreaming with nothing but hunger and hope. After the match, Malik didn't go to the fancy locker room first. He walked back toward the parking lot, where an old woman stood near the gate, waiting patiently. His mother. He ran to her, and in front of reporters and cameras and a stunned crowd, he hugged her tight. "This is your win too, Amma." She laughed through tears. "No, Beta. This is just the beginning." Years later, Malik opened a futsal center in his old neighborhood with free admission for underprivileged children. He called it Behind the Fence Academy because he never forgot where it all began. And every evening, when a poor boy stood by the gate, watching others play, Malik would walk over and say with a smile, "Come in, son. I know that look in your eyes. Let's see what you've got." If this story touched your heart, then remember this greatness doesn't come from where you start, but from how far you're willing to go. Malik wasn't born with privilege, power, or opportunity, but he had a dream, and he had the courage to chase it, no matter how many fences stood in his way, from plastic bottles to national stadiums, from torn shoes to scholarship letters. Malik proved that the fire inside you can outshine any darkness around you. So the next time you feel small, invisible, or not good enough, think of the boy behind the fence, and remember, your dreams matter. Your story is just beginning. If this inspired you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because we bring you real stories that remind you what's possible when the heart never gives up.